This chamber behind me here could be one of the most powerful longevity tools available, but most people don't actually understand how it works. I spent 7,200 minutes, around 120 hours inside the chamber. And in that time, I reversed my biological age by 2 years with only 60 sessions and adding to my already 8 years that I had reversed. We've been selling hyperbarics like this for quite some time, and I've done plenty of hyperbaric sessions in the past, but never a long protocol like this. But I'm a firm believer in practicing what you preach, and I wanted to see how good the results could be, and the results we achieved were really impressive. Now, before starting this protocol, we needed a baseline. So we measured all of my markers and went over and above. We did full body MRI, we went through and did full bloods, full DNA testing, we went through VO2 max, hang time, grip strength, amongst a whole heap of other tests that we did. Now this took a lot of time, but once we had all these measured out, we had a really good baseline to start with. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a clinical trial, but we tried to keep everything as accurate as possible. We didn't change any of my diet, any of my workout plan, any of my other modalities that I use in my recovery and longevity protocol. We kept everything exactly the same for that whole 90 days. Now, when it comes to hyperbaric, it's very important to follow a specific protocol. Consistency is key. So what we did is we followed a protocol that was over 90 days that has shown to increase the length of telomeres and lower senescent cells within the body. But that wasn't our number one goal. We wanted to see if we could achieve any results that were linked to longevity or performance. Now, you might be wondering, what is hyperbaric? Now, hyperbaric is a combination of pressure inside the chamber. So we pressurize this whole chamber with ambient air, 21% oxygen, and then a combination of that and breathing enriched oxygen or pure oxygen through a mask. So with that, the pressure of the chamber and the enriched oxygen pushes more oxygen into the blood plasma. Now with the protocol, we ran a 2-hour session. We ran that 5 days a week, and having the weekends off. Now with that 2-hour session, it was 15 minutes up to pressure, 2 atmospheres, and then an hour and a half at pressure, and then 15 minutes back down. Now that equates to 7,200 minutes or 120 hours inside the chamber. So it is a long time that I committed to doing this set protocol. Now, one of the most important things is I am lucky enough to have a hyperbaric chamber at my home. With my busy schedule, there's no chance that I could travel to a clinic 5 days a week for 2 hours a day and complete these sessions. So we have the luxury of having this in my home, like many of our customers do. With the chamber itself, I'm going to run you through a few of the things that consist with the chamber. So the first thing here, you have the oxygen concentrator. So this is what produces the oxygen that is breathed in through the mask. Now we measured this, we got 95% purity out of the oxygen concentrator. We could have gone to a bottled oxygen, which would have brought it up to 100%. But obviously, being rural, it's very hard for us to get bottled oxygen to my home. So we used the oxygen concentrator, and I think the results were very good. Now you might be wondering, what the hell would you do in a hyperbaric chamber for 7,000 odd minutes or 120 hours? So yes, it is a long time to be in a hyperbaric chamber. Now what I used to do is I would come out at 5 o'clock in the morning and do my session from 5 till 7. Now there's a few ways to kind of pass the time. Most of the time I would read, or I'd meditate or do some breath work, or I'll just recline the seat and relax for a wee while. Now you might have seen on the internet a few people taking devices and laptops and the likes of into hyperbaric chambers. Now, no matter what anyone says, you are not to take laptops, devices, anything with lithium batteries inside a hyperbaric chamber. Now we have a little workaround with that. We have this device here, which has no lithium batteries. We can remove the lithium batteries out of it, and it runs on a low voltage cord like this. So I was lucky enough to be able to do my work from this little device here, which was a game changer, and we got that around halfway through my sessions. After about my 10th session, I felt a big difference in terms of my overall fatigue, which almost wiped out, and then also my cognitive and my overall performance increased dramatically. Now, after about another 10 sessions, so when I got to the 20 session mark, I noticed a big jump up again, and then from 10 sessions right through to the 60th session, I didn't really notice too much of an increase. So once I then finished that 60 sessions, about a month post protocol, I noticed a big jump up again in my cognitive performance and my overall performance, and fatigue was almost non-existent. So I could come out and do a full workout. I could go through, do my full day, work really late at night, which I try not to do, and the next day be ready to go with minimal fatigue, whereas previously I would feel pretty groggy and pretty tired throughout the day. So those are the kind of day-to-day results that I noticed throughout the protocol, but what we're really interested in were the data points from our testing. Now we saw some really big changes, and here are the results. My aging slowed down dramatically, so just from the 60 sessions alone, we reversed my biological age by an additional 2 years, on top of the previous 8 years we had achieved with all the other stuff we had done in the past. Performance increased, recovery increased, and health markers obviously improved as well. So my insulin sensitivity increased, which led to a better body fat percentage. So the body fat percentage decreased by 9%, and more importantly, my weight increased. So my lean mass increased, but my weight increased 1 kg as well, even though we are losing body fat at the same time. My visceral fat, a very important marker of longevity, decreased by a dramatic 17%. Now that's combined with a lower CRP and a higher insulin sensitivity that led to both of those. Now, a very important marker when it comes to health and longevity is inflammation, and that is high sensitivity CRP. Now mine dropped by a dramatic 45% with this protocol alone. Now moving into recovery. My REM and deep sleep increased, overall recovery improved dramatically, and that was all measured through Whoop and through a 8-sleep mattress. So we had 2 forms of measurement on the REM and deep sleep side of things. Now my strength, a very important marker of longevity, obviously, grip strength increased by 23%, and hang time increased by 50%. Now another very important marker in terms of longevity is VO2 max. Now this was a jump up. Now I didn't change any of my cardiovascular habits, didn't do any more VO2 max training, didn't change anything throughout this protocol, but from that 60 session protocol, we achieved a 32% increase in VO2 max, which was insane. So very, very good result in VO2 max. Now, one of the biggest things the specific protocol that we followed shows is lengthening telomeres, and that's why many people follow this specific study. Now, we weren't really dialing in and trying to achieve that as such, because my telomeres were already at a very good length. I'm relatively young. I'm not kind of in that window of what the study was based on, which is 65 and above. But we managed to maintain telomere length. We didn't have an increase, we didn't have a decrease. So that can change over time. Obviously, we will be retesting in another year's time to see if anything has changed. But for us, and me being where I am in terms of my other markers, we didn't see any change in the telomere length. Now, some other really important markers that we found was, one, skin improved dramatically, and 2 other things which we weren't really expecting, but we tested and got some really good results with. One, you'll recall at the start of the video, I mentioned we did full body MRI. So with that full body MRI, we confirmed an old hip injury from martial arts, And it was really good that we found that in the MRI that we could actually target that and then see from that 60 session protocol that that had then fully healed in that 90 days, which was really, really cool to see. And that had been something that had been plaguing me for a very long time, and I just wasn't able to get on top of. So that has fully rectified and healed. So very, very good outcome there. One other thing was before I started my protocol, probably a month prior, I noticed that my right eye was starting to fatigue and lose a little bit of vision. So I went and got it tested. It had lost a lot of vision opposed to my left eye. And so I was prescribed some glasses. Now, I wore them for 2 days and then I thought, hey, I'm about to start this protocol, so why don't I leave the glasses and see if it improves? And I'm really glad that I did, so I didn't wear the glasses anymore right throughout that protocol. And from that 60 sessions, it has stabilized and improved to the same point as my left eye. So very, very good result in the vision side of things, although I spent $1,200 on a pair of glasses that I do no longer need. So across the board, these results have been life-changing for me. I've noticed a huge increase in how I perform day to day. Obviously, you know, some of these markers in terms of longevity and health are very much trending in the right direction. So we will keep on trying to build on those in the future. Now, if you don't have time to do a full 60 session protocol, you can still get really good results, but you need to make sure that you are committing because it has a compounding effect and consistency is key. So at the bare minimum, I would recommend 5 sessions a week for 2 weeks, and then you can build from there. But one of the most important things is finding a hyperbaric chamber that is correctly set up and has all the safety requirements for running that protocol. Now, there is plenty of chambers on the market that are called a hyperbaric chamber, but they're not all created equal. So the protocol that I ran was at 2 atmospheres, and I ran that with a bibs mask, which has a dramatic increase in terms of the results you can be looking for. So those are probably the 2 main things I would be looking for. And then when it comes to safety, I would be looking for a chamber that has at bare minimum PVHO, so PVHO, pressure vessel for human occupancy certification. And if it doesn't have that, I would not be hopping inside that chamber. Now, one of the common mistakes I see with hyperbaric and why some people don't get results is inconsistent use. So as I said before, consistency is key. You want to commit to a block of treatments, and that's where you'll really see some results. So following on from my 60 session protocol, how I use hyperbaric from week to week now, I will do 2 sessions a week at 2 hours a session. And I'll be running that for as long as I choose until we do some retesting and maybe we look at something where we do another protocol. But from week to week, I will be doing those 2-hour sessions and doing that twice a week. Now, when it comes to longevity, it's not about trying to do everything, it's about trying to do the right things and doing them consistently. And hyperbaric is one of the things that really moves the needle. So making sure if you're going to commit to a protocol, get a good baseline measurement done, run your full protocol, and then measure again. You'll see some really good results. Now, if you've got any questions around hyperbaric or any other of our longevity equipment, feel free to reach out to me or the team, or catch us on any of our social channels. Now, we will be doing more videos like this. We are doing a range of different protocols, all based around longevity, and we'll be doing this in my studio here. So keep an eye out for those videos in the future.